Hey guys, how are you? Hope you're all doing great. I am coming down with the sickness, so to be honest, I don't feel that well. I probably don't sound that great, but we're still gonna get through the Amius together. I had a bunch of people like comments on my older videos and ask me about this Amius rotation. So I kind of do think it is maybe one of the more challenging ones. I agree with you guys. So as always, I have beaten it with champs that are accessible, and I will walk you through the entire fight. The first thing to note is that I really don't think this is a good team, like, at all. Um, I think, like, a lot of the times when I post a video, I think, like, it is genuinely a good team. I think that a lot of people could easily beat the fight with the team I'm showcasing. This is not really the case. This is more just showing you that, like, yeah, you can do it even though it's tough. Like, I trust that you can look through your champs and find something better than what I did, because I'm just scraping the bottom of the barrel. I always want to make these videos accessible, so like I purposely, I'm not out here using like all of my good champs. Like, I see numerous champs who would be very good, right? That, I just sort of skipped them over and didn't do that. So a couple of things to note. I just want to shout out a couple people that I don't have or that I can't use. The first one is Morrigan. She has the protected, unremovable heal reduction debuff, so if you happen to do her fusion, or, just picked her up through whatever means, that's a really, really strong champ for this fight. The heal reduction can't be removed, and then, I would say the enormous heal is the Lunar Storm. I would say that is like the single most, worst part of the fight. So shout out to that champion, MVP for that. Second thing I would shout out is Ambassador Lethelin. I used him last rotation as well. And then yeah, I would shout out this guy just because with his targeted taunt, you can make Amius target whoever you want for his ignore defense ability. Like, obviously I'm using UDK. But there's plenty of strong tanks you could have chosen, like, for example, like Vogoth, something like that. So yeah, just telling him, here's the person you're gonna target, and I've got like squishy people like Skraank just sitting here completely getting away with it. So I would say that's, basically invaluable. So those are a couple of champs that I would shout out if you happen to have them. And then as always, like, please, like I said, I don't think this is a good team. I think you should replace whoever you can essentially with someone better. I think Mausoleum Mage is good. I think the Ambassador Lethelin UDK combo is good. But ideally, I think you should have a second Brimstone dealer, because you're gonna see, like, I'm really struggling with UDK being the only person applying Brimstone. I definitely missed a lot of damage there. And it took a while. So yeah, I would say use 2 Legos if you can, who are carrying Brimstones. If you have better epic damage dealers. And then yeah, here I'm just going for like max HP. That's guaranteed to be a pretty big hit. With Husk, he's also HP champ, so hopefully not gonna die, right? That's always something I consider. Skraank, I think I like switched a couple of his items to HP, maybe. But yeah, so mainly looking for the burn. And then the other thing about this guy, he actually has really good self-sustain, with his ability, something blood. So yeah, actually really good sustain with this ability. Heals this champion by 15% of their max HP. So again, I'm just looking for somebody who could deal a little damage and not die. So yeah, really good self-sustain. Don't worry, don't have to have anybody else healing him. He's just gonna heal himself. And then Mausoleum Mage does have black debuffs, so you can get through the stun. He has a full cleanse and a heal. He was always like one of my favorite champions. I'm happy to see him out there in the fight. This ability is really good. You know, heals each ally by a further 10% if you're removing debuffs, and does a little turn meter fill if you remove 2 or more debuffs. Winds of Purging. Yeah, you get a ton of good buffs and the block debuffs on this ability. So yeah, strong champ. Always been a fan. So yeah, that is my, where am I? Oh my goodness. So that's kind of where I'm at. Like I said, you know, this isn't like the team that I recommend to you. This is just showing you that you could do it. Basically, the number one thing you should look for to see if your team is going to be successful, and this is something you can tell almost immediately. Like, you know, I tried this team and I was like, okay, yeah, this team will work. I can tell. Even though I didn't win that time, I can tell because of these factors. So basically, there are 2 things. Number 1, you have to outdamage or negate the heal. So like right now, I'm not using heal reduction. I have to outdamage the heal. So if you go through like, you know, your first kind of, you know, part or whatever, you know, your first section, because like it's just the same thing, you know, you're just doing the same things repeatedly, right? Like nothing's ever new in this fight. Like I'm just repeating the same pattern 10 times, right? And that's how I win. So if you go through your first part of the pattern and you're not out damaging the heal, you're not going to win because, you know. And then the second part is that you have to survive. So if you're out damaging the heal and you're not having trouble with survival, it might not be pretty. It might not be fun. You know, it might not be a quick run, but yeah, you can do it. I've done it with garbage teams all the time. So yeah, that's basically the 2 key things: out damage or negate the heal, and survive. As long as you're doing those, even if it takes you 10 minutes, you are fine. So as always, I do have the entire walkthrough of my, you know, lovely little run here. And like I said, this was not a quick one. This was like 5.5 minutes or something. So it's, like I said, it's not really a good team. It's just a team. So as always, we'll just go through the entire thing, talk about the abilities, talk about why I'm doing what I'm doing, anything else you may need to know. So I mention this probably every video. If you don't immediately get a proc of your brimstone with whoever your brimstone carriers are, just reset. It's so much damage because like right here, he's going to back-to-back use this ability and this ability, right? So it's going to be the double brimstone proc. This is the perfect time for brimstone to proc. So yeah, definitely just start yourself off on the right foot. Get the brimstone right here, which I'm going to do with UDK. Okay. And then certain things depend on the speed of your champs and what champs you're using and whatnot. Like sometimes he leads with the stun, and I really don't know why. Like, you know, there's nothing that I can see that would be forcing this to happen. Like I'll just have a bunch of people standing here, you know, and there's no debuffs on him, and he'll lead with the stun. With this combination of people, he was leading with the heal for me, so that's fine, I guess. And then I'm going to do A1s here because he's going to use that heal ability, right? So there's no point in using like Husk's max HP heal or Skrank's, you know, HP burn, because this is just getting insta-healed and it's pointless. So yeah, A1s with everybody. There is the enormous heal. So like I said, just healed everything. Completely pointless to have done anything else. And then the second ability, I'm sure you guys know, this is one of the tougher ones. It's a giant AoE stun. I think if you're using mythicals, it will force them to form change. Obviously, I'm never using mythicals because I'm showing free-to-play teams, so definitely you're never going to see me use a mythical in this fight. And yeah, so it's an AoE stun. So that's why I've brought Mausoleum Mage, right? If you don't have a cleanser, it's, you know, it's a little trickier, but it's not block debuffs, I guess. It's not the end of the world. I've definitely done it plenty of times without that. It is a little, you know, trickier, obviously, because you're missing all those turns on all those champions. So, something to think about. And then the other thing about that ability, he takes all of the debuffs on himself and he reverses them. So certain things are completely okay to place. Like, for example, this is a protected brimstone, but it doesn't really matter. Even if your brimstone is not protected, he cannot remove your brimstone. He cannot reverse your brimstone. There's nothing that brimstone reverses to. You know, same with like HP burn. HP burn does not reverse into anything. It's completely fine to use that. The things that you've got to worry about are things like black buffs will get turned into black debuffs. Decrease attack will get turned into increase attack. And that's absolutely devastating because he has an AoE A1. I promise you that is absolutely going to murder all of your champions. So, you know, just hold off on using the debuffs if you have any. If you look at my team, like I don't really have any, you know, I don't have anything like that. So it's a bit easier for me to ignore, but sometimes it's a little annoying. Like if somebody places like decrease attack on their A1, that might kind of mess you up here and there. But fortunately, really nothing going on with this team. Like I said, you know, just get those free brimstone hits. I'm going to apply the HP burn now because it can't be reversed. That's fine. Something else to note. I actually have UDK built like a normal champion, like not a UDK. Like I actually have him built with speed and accuracy. So as you can see, I'm actually taking another turn already. And then I found it useful to actually, you know, use his shield and continue his heal just to get everybody back up to full HP, prevent some damage. So yeah, that's what I'm going to go ahead and use to get comfy everybody. Let's keep everybody healthy. You know, I've applied the brimstone, so that's fine. Max HP hit with Husk. And then, okay, here we go. Again, this might depend on your speeds. Like if your Mausoleum Mage is like 400 speed, you know, maybe you took multiple turns here. But as I can see, you know, his turn meter's getting high. He's about to use the stun. So right now I want to use the block debuffs ability that also places all of these other buffs. So a couple thing about this one is, as you can see, or if you saw it in the description earlier, this is a 1-turn block debuffs, so it's very, very limited time. The timing is very key. If you have a block debuffs Lego, it's probably a 2-turner. Like I have Pythion, it's 2 turns. Just as a random example. So yeah, timing is a little bit more key as opposed to like Pythion, where I could have just pretty much used that at any time and it would have covered this ability. And then the other thing to note is that he places a crap ton of other buffs. That's why people like using this champion with Seer. So be careful with these buffs because remember, when his first ability, when he goes into the Eclipse phase, is that he takes all of your buffs and he reverses them. So just, you know, be careful when you use that. You don't want to get like increased defense turned into decreased defense. You don't want to get continuous heal turned into, well, continuous heal is the UDK ability, but the point still stands. Be careful when you use those 2 abilities because if you get them reversed, it's obviously devastating. So always save those for the correct time. And then, you know, like if you use Lasting Gifts Mastery, you're going to notice like, wow, these are all kind of varying amounts here. That's just the way it goes. But look, he's not going into the form for 3 turns. So everything should be gone by the time he's there. So yeah, again, just something to keep in mind. Watch out for the buff reversal. So, okay. And then you can just A1 with that guy. We blocked the stun right there. We took another brimstone hit. That's good. And then, yeah, like I said, he has incredible self-sustain on the Skraank, so I'm just kind of leeching off of him, staying full HP all the time. Be careful when you use that ability also. Like, I would not use that ability if you are full HP. I would save that for when you need it. And then, yeah, isn't it weird actually using abilities with UDK? So, okay, this ability is decrease attack, right? You're probably more used to it like fearing you in Live Arena and not being able to take a turn. But this is a decreased attack applier. So like absolutely we want to use that, but I want to use it a little closer to the next form because I want to block like his big AoE hit in the next form. So I'm going to wait until it's a 1-turn cooldown here. So I'm just going to go with the A1 for now. You can use Husk's other ability like his A3. It does a little more damage. And once again, we're just A1ing. Ambassador Lethelin, like you might have noticed, I've just been A1ing. He also has a little baby heal, but you know, again, like nobody's weak, so I'm not going to use that. So, you know, get the most value out of your abilities with like your healers, your cleansers, all of that good stuff. That's his A1, it's AoE. But yeah, like we're pretty good, right? We've got like the increased defense, people still have continuous heal on, so stuff like that isn't doing a lot of damage. Okay, so now he's got 1 turn. He's gonna go into the Eclipse form. So now, like I said, now I want the decreased attack. It would have been nice to get the Brimstone, but it might still be cooldown, honestly. That's what I was saying. You need like 2 Brimstone carriers to just like make sure you can apply this, because like getting the Brimstone proc here when he's gonna go into his Eclipse form and use both abilities, like that'd be like chunk, like, you know, amazing. So yeah, like I said, if you have multiple Brimstone carriers, please use them. My team is bad. People were a little weak, so we're going in. Okay. So, secondary form. Like we talked about, first thing he's gonna do is reverse all of your buffs. You need like an insane amount of resistance to resist this, so, you know, probably don't even try, like honestly. Like I think UDK probably has at least 500 or 600 in this build, and he's not resisting it, so yeah. So, nothing super devastating here. You can see some of them did get reversed. Decreased defense is definitely the worst one, but like crit damage, who cares? Heal reduction, I can remove that, you know, decreased attack. These aren't devastating. It's the decreased defense that's the big one, because it's going to make you take more damage in the follow-up ability, which is like a giant AoE. But yeah, so as you can see, like I saved Mausoleum, Mage's Cleanse, and Heal for this part. So I'm going to remove all this stuff. Everything's going to be fine. Trust. So that's the unresistible sleep, and the debuff reversal. Can't really do anything about that one. And then this is the second ability. Big damage. So yeah, not ideal, but you know, like he's a tank, it's fine. And then look, we're just going right into his turn right here. I'm going to use the Winds of Purging. I'm going to get all the nasty debuffs off. And we are fine. And then remember, there was all those other benefits like turn meter boost, additional heal if we're removing debuffs. So yeah, super strong ability. Just go back into this. And then, yeah, so this is the part you need to survive, right? Like, you just need to survive him doing his A1 once, okay? So, like I said, the Ambassador Lethelin thing is good. Like, I'm using UDK as my kind of tank, but basically, I can just tell him, like, you know, attack UDK, I'm placing taunt on UDK, placing reflect damage on everybody else. And like I said, maybe you didn't use UDK, but I'm sure you have some person on your team who you would rather he target, you know, as opposed to like your damage dealers. So, you know, you can play HP burn during this part. Be careful again about like decreased attack, black buffs, stuff like that, because they tend to linger into the next phase and he'll reverse them. So, as always, be careful with timings. We're playing Brimstone at the worst moment, obviously. Can't really get use out of it. So there, he does take the double hit of the ignore shield, ignore defense, ignore unkillable, etc., etc. I would hang on to this ability on Mausoleum Mage. Hang on to that until the next phase. Because, you know, you need that to block the stun. It's got, both of his abilities have kind of long cooldowns. Be careful with the timings. So I'll just go with the A1. Can max HP on Husk again, that's fine. A1. Like I said, if I'm not weak, I'm not wasting the little like self-heal thing. So I did not use it there. He has Weaken on his A1 also, so careful, that can, like, theoretically get turned into Strengthen, but it's not really a big deal, you know? Like, it's definitely far less bad than Decrease Attack going to Increase Attack, and block buffs going to block debuffs, so no point worrying about that. And then, yeah, we can use the Get Comfy, everybody, the shield, the continuous heal. This is a good time to use it, for sure. And then, bam, we're back here in the second ability, or in the first phase. So this is what I was talking about, right? Like, this is the moment where you can assess your team performance. So as you can see, like, he just did his heal, and I've chunked him, right? So it's not a quick fight. It's not beautiful, but I'm better than him, right? Like, I'm outpacing him. So that's all that really counts. So, you know, it's basically at this moment, I was like, okay, this team is kind of bad, but it will win. So that is fine. So yeah, this is the moment you can see, after he heals, did you still damage him? So I can answer that, yes, I did. And yeah, now I know it's going to win. So, okay. I always talk about this, but like, yeah, this fight is just a pattern. You just keep repeating exactly what you were doing. That was working. That's fine. There's no need to get crazy and change it up. You were doing fine. So, you know, we're just going to go A1s, right? Because of the reversal ability. So we'll just do our A1s. Just keep it up. Like I said, I'm preserving the decreased attack for UDK. There's the stun. I think I messed it up. Yeah, because obviously I should have blocked that. So again, I never play this perfectly. You can still win. It's fine. We're all gonna make it through. So yeah, I definitely messed that up. And then, like I said, I'm concerned about the second ability. So I'm not gonna, like, retroactively use the cleanse. There's no point. All of those are going to get reversed. So just keep A1ing. You could use the Ambassador Lethelin heal, because we've got some people who are weak. It's fine to use HP burn. And then he's going into Eclipse. So yeah, let's use the decreased attack again to prevent us from taking more damage during this part. No buffs reversed this time, so that's good. Okay, took a decent bit of damage there. I'm going to use the Winds of Purging anyway for the heal. There's not really a better time to use it. This is the only time that anybody would have debuffs on. So just go ahead and use that. Try to keep everybody healthy. And then again, we're just doing the same thing again, right? I'm putting the taunt on UDK. Skraank is getting a little bit weak, so I'm going to use his, like, self-sustain thing. You can use the Get Comfy. You can do this. Reapply the Brimstone on the counterattack. That's actually really good, because now he is going to use... he has Brimstone on during the back-to-back abilities in the first phase. So that's really good. I am happy about that. A1. Max HP every time it comes up. A1. A1. Oh, here's the other thing I forgot to point out. So, like, you may notice, like, sometimes UDK is getting really weak, right? But then, bam! Massive, massive, enormous heal. This was 176,000 heal, is how much that was, with another 4,000 on top of it. So, basically, what this is, and why it's so nice that you can tell him who to target with the taunt, it's that mastery where you heal for like 6% of the enemy's heal. So the enemy is healing for, like, you know, infinite. So yeah, he's healing for an insane amount of damage. So that's basically what's happening there. If you weren't concerned about it, if you don't have that mastery, I think, you know, you have plenty of self-sustain, right? With the Mausoleum Mage, the Get Comfy, everyone from UDK. So, I don't think it's, like, devastating or anything if you're using a champion where you're not using that mastery. Obviously, UDK, you know, usually the place I use him is Arena, so he does have that mastery. But it was just kind of a fun little, like, oh, yeah, I guess that would happen moment. So yeah, if you're wondering why my UDK is healing for like 200,000 damage, there you have it. So, okay, we're back, right? He always opens with the heal. So hopefully I'm going to not be a stupid and I'm going to cleanse us, or I'm going to block the debuffs this time. Yep. Okay. And then, yeah. So, yeah, like I said, you know, just keep doing what you're doing. It's a little bit painful, but gotta do what you gotta do. I'm saving the decrease attack until he's gonna go into the next phase. There's the rampant chaos. Just because of timing, you know, a couple people had their turn, but like obviously having 3 people stunned is better than 5, so we'll take it. He took the double brimstone hit from both abilities. A1 because I'm not weak. That's the A1. See, this is why I'm saving, you know, the Skraank self-sustain for when I really, really need it. I guess I just decided to use the Winds of Purging just, you know, because people were getting weak. And also the Ambassador Lethelin heal and the Skraank heal. So yeah, quite a bit of sustain. Now I'm using the decreased attack. I'm not using this ability because I don't want my buffs to get reversed. So yeah, like I said, it's like, this is... Even though, like I said, like, this is not a quick team. This is not beautiful, but, like, it's working, right? Like, nobody's in danger whatsoever. We're outpacing his damage. Like, it's really... It's fine. It's kind of weird how fine it is. Like, HP burn, get the taunt on UDK again. Get everyone comfy. Like I said, I'm saving that for when I really need it during the stun. He'll take the double hit. Cool. Max HP again. A1, 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 apply the brimstone. That is super, super good. Very good. Because again, you know, we want him to use this when he does the back-to-back abilities in the next phase. Really good time for that to apply. A1. There's the heal. Again, it's slow, it's painful, but we are outpacing him. UDK is once again healing for 176,566 plus an additional 4,500. Yep. So big heals. A1s. He's getting a little weak, so we'll go ahead and use that. A1. Let's block the debuffs again. There you go. Perfect. Nobody got stunned. No debuffs got reversed, because that's just how it works. He's taking the brimstone hits again. You can heal everybody. You know, some people, like Mausoleum Mage and Husk, they started to get a little weaker than the others. Because number 1, they're not as tanky, and number 2, they don't have like the inherent like self-sustain like these two. So that was why. I'm kind of like saving, like I was seeing like, is anybody gonna get reversed? Should I save that? Should I just use it? So I just used it. You know, those judgment calls, those are up to you. A1s. Alright. Like I said, I'm not using the get comfy because I don't want those buffs to get turned into the debuffs. I am using the decreased attack though, because that's amazing for the next phase. So, alright. We're here. Everybody's asleep. Can't do anything about that. Max HP hit. Taunt UDK once again. A1, that's all you can do. Self-sustain. Get comfy. UDK has taken the hit. He's counter-attacking. We're getting the brimstone on the counter-attack again, so that's good. Like I said, it's much, much easier if you have 2 brimstone appliers. Like, this is the highest level brimstone I own, and I felt like it was terrible. Like, I feel like doing this with 2 level 1 brimstones was an improvement. So yeah, it's definitely quantity over quality in my experience for the brimstone appliers during this fight. So yeah, A1s don't want to get anything reversed. Yeah, you can apply the HP burn, that's fine, can't be reversed. A1. Alright, so now we're in the next phase. Heal again, brimstone. I can tell by now we're in a good start. A good spot, right? Because he's going to take damage from the brimstone one more time. Everybody's, you know, doing fine enough to survive this phase at the very least. I can max HP him with Husk, you know, etc. So I can tell, like, this is good. I can probably win right here. Mausoleum Mage, block debuffs. You know, we're blocking the stun once again. Just gonna go A1. There it is. So he's taking the brimstone hit, right? The second brimstone hit, he's getting so weak. So weak. Unfortunately, the Skraank Weaken got turned into Strengthened, but it's okay. I don't really care that much. Husk, we just need to get that max HP hit back up. Please. I've mentioned this a lot of times. War Master is very, very good. Like, this says War Master, this says War Master, this says War Master, this says War Master. So if you can do, like, percentage-based damage, that is very, very nice. Hitting him with all the abilities, I'm just going all out. Okay. I applied the decreased attack there because I don't want to go into the next phase, so I'm not saving it. I want to use it, like, right here and now. And then we should kill him with the max HP, right? We did. So, there you have it. Like I said, it's really, it was not a good team, but I just want to show you guys, as long as you're outpacing his healing and you can survive, you can win. Top damage UDK with almost 3 million damage from the Brimstone. Dude has 1.5 million healing, probably because he's healing for 178,000 or whatever it was. Every time Amius heals, kind of funny interaction with that mastery. Husk, max HP, you know, that does quite a bit in the end. Not as much as Skraank, apparently, with the burn and the War Master, and just kind of being a damage dealer in general. Mausoleum Mage, you know, providing our black debuffs. Ambassador Lethelin, forcing him to attack UDK every time, and then a little bit of heals as well. All of this gear was Garbo. Probably the worst batch I've ever gotten. I kept, like, a lot of it just to, like, re-roll it, but, you know, if it were, like if it rolled, you know, triple, whatever, like, I might re-roll it, but just to see if we could get a triple something that's better. You guys are familiar with this. I don't know why I'm rambling about it, but yeah, so unlikely to be anything good there. As always, we will go through, we'll look at everybody's builds and talk about that if you were curious about anything. Okay, so back in Raid. So, like I said, I actually put a real quotation marks build on UDK, like a build to actually be able to use the abilities. Oh my goodness, that wasn't even booked. Should probably just throw like 1 book there. That's pretty good value, you know, 1 cooldown. Okay, so yeah, I actually did gear swap. I usually don't do that. I think this is like my Molly Tankard's gear from Hydra. So yeah, he does have the accuracy. It has far too much accuracy, to be honest. You don't need that much. It's like 450, 500, so calm down. I think it's 450. But yeah, so like, yeah, I actually want to be fast. I want to apply Brimstone. I want to apply Decreased Attack. I want to heal my team and shield them. So yeah, that's the build. It was kind of fun. Actually, using this champion is more than just like a meat shield. Good times. I do have like the Arena Masteries. You know, what are you gonna do? Okay. Learning, guys, learning. So that is my UDK build. Who else was on that team? Let's go down to the epics. Mausoleum Mage. Like I said, a lot of people use him with Seer in the shield set because you get like an additional buff. So this is a super old build. Haven't looked at it in years. It's fine. That's the way I would describe it. It's fine. Maybe ideally you want to be a little faster for like a hard Amius fight, but as previously stated, it is fine. Who else? Skraank. Yeah, that's the build. So, like, a little tankier with less attack, you know? Because if you just go in there like with the squishy guy, you will just get one-shotted by those AoE abilities. So, don't let that happen. As long as that's not happening, you actually have amazing self-sustain. So that's fine. That's the masteries on that. Ambassador Lethelin, I used him last time. He's just an immunity set for no particular reason at all. I just kind of happened to have that lying around and it was fine. So I built it, but like, you know, there's nothing to it. It's not impacting the fight in any way. Like I said, having War Master on people is super, super helpful for the debuffs. Or I'm sorry, to just kind of increase the damage output because it's percentage-based damage. That is my Husk. I use him in Hydra on some rotations, like if the... As always, I've got the unfinished Masteries, because I don't want to do this one, because that'll kill you during the Amius fight, so yeah. I sometimes pause on the Masteries in these Amius times, but again, War Master helpful, he had some cruelty helpful. I think Skraank is actually the higher level cruelty. So, shouldn't we have one more? Did I forget? No, I guess that was literally everybody. So, okay guys, there is my bad Amius team. I just want to show you that as long as you're surviving and outpacing the heal, you can definitely win. You don't have to have heal reduction, you just have to have more damage than he has heals. Essentially, it's not slow, it's not beautiful, but there was really never any point where we were gonna lose, right? So it's fine. Alright, but as always, if this helped even one person, then yay, I am happy. And as always, you guys, thank you so much for taking the time to watch the video, and take care of yourselves. Goodbye!